Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of heroic television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about Werewolf by Night.
A special presentation by Marvel and Disney Plus, a thing that doesn't exist.
It does now. It's a new thing. It's a special presentation.
It was very special, and it was presented on Disney Plus.
It was presented. It was special. Something a little bit new and different for Marvel and Disney. And we're going to be talking about it today. Their special presentation, short film, available on Disney Plus. And we are going to give you, as we do anytime we discuss a new TV show or movie, we're going to give you a spoiler-free review. So in case you're on the fence about seeing it, you're not sure if it's worth your time, or you just want a taste of the episode before you get a chance to watching it, we're going to give you a spoiler-free review. Then once you hear the theme song, that means that we are going to be entering the spoiler-filled section. So let's start with the spoiler-free review. Let's get right into it. Let's ask the usual and the simple question. Diana, did you like it?
I loved it. I thought it was so great. Like, not like a love like it did anything like groundbreaking, but for Marvel, I think it did do something groundbreaking. I think this is the first very different Marvel thing, other than maybe WandaVision, that doesn't feel like Marvel formulaic. Like, and it's just really fun. Like, it really knows what it is. It moves at a great pace. It's just entertaining the whole time. The fights are really good. The bits of comedy are very comedic. If you're hoping it's scary, it's not scary. It is not. There's not really any actual horror elements, despite the style going on and the tropes being used. But it is a delightful hour of the special presentation. I felt very special, I had a great time. All the characters were great. There's almost nothing to complain about. It was just a quick hit of some real fun characters having a fun time. Not for some of them. A lot of them didn't have fun, but I did. I had fun. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a pretty medium love, which is pretty darn good. Andrew, did you like Werewolf by Night?
I adored Werewolf by Night.
Love to hear an adored.
I'm above love. I'm above love. I'm in a full-on adored. I had such a fun time watching this that literally, like, I want to finish recording, go watch it again, and watch it again later this week. And it is so much fun. It is so playful, and it is so well executed for what it's trying to do. Like, to be this level of unpretentious while also adoring of what the source material is. It is black and white. It is in the style of a Universal monster picture. And I agree with you. It's not horror. It's not like, ooh, spooky, scary Halloween month, other than, it having to do with a werewolf and being in the style of a creature picture. It doesn't have spooks and scares, but it has all of the vibes of an era of spooks and scares. And this was just a warm October soup of this was just like having a warm bowl of soup on a cold fall day in October. This is all the Halloween vibes that I want, where it's fun, it's playful, it's homage, it's well executed. I can't say enough good things about this, and I want to rush to rewatch it. And I really want to, I want to watch it multiple times. I had such a joyous experience with this.
I am totally down with that. I totally agree. I will say it's also just very easy to watch. Like, for a thing that has so many characters introduced and in a brand new, we don't know any of them. I actually don't know anything about Werewolf by Night. So this was just brand new stuff, and it's just so easy to take in, and the fights are easy to watch, and the storyline's just very clean. It's just fun and easy to watch this, and it was a delight.
Yeah, very, very inviting. It is.
Inviting.
It's both confident and inviting at the same time. It strikes a really strong balance of a lot of what it's going for. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, wonderful. Everyone, go watch it.
Go watch this, and it's a breezy
everyone.
1 hour as well. So it's a short film. It is. There's no fat. There's nothing to trim. It is just breezy. It is fun. It's the right amount of time. A delight. A delight.
And it's violent without being too gory. I would say almost anyone could watch this.
Yeah, I would say so
age-wise
too.
and enjoyment level and things you like.
Yeah.
This is a hit for everyone.
And can it be spoiled?
Not really. I mean, I guess maybe.
I disagree a little.
Yeah,
I think
I guess
it can
there's stuff.
I think it can be spoiled a little bit.
There was a bit of a twist.
Yeah, there was a bit of a twist, and also just like, I didn't expect this to happen with this character in this moment, and like, oh wow, like, you know, this happened at a pace that was kind of unpredictable. I think that there's unexpected charm in moments where I'm glad that I didn't know what was going to happen going in.
Yeah, I'm also glad. I loved going in completely blind. Had a great time. So read nothing about it. Just trust us. Go watch Werewolf by Night.
Yeah. And also I feel like that's kind of the vibe of this as well. It's a comic property that not a lot of people have a big attachment to or a familiarity with. Like, I know it does have a following and it's been around for a while, but it's not in, you know, the common pop culture. And I think that, a fresh, ready for anything kind of experience is how this is best enjoyed. Yeah. So that's going to be the spoiler-free review. Before we get into the spoiler-filled section of this episode, we want to give a thank you to one of our sponsors of today's episode. We want to thank our friends over at tpublic.com.
tpublic.com, also a delight. Also a relaxing thing to use if you need wonderful designs on t-shirts or tank tops or phone cases or anything else that you like to accoutrement, which you like a nice logo or design on. You can go to tpublic.com and find things you're going to love. And
all those logos and designs, they are designs that are submitted by independent artists who are getting commissions for their work. So you're going to support this show and an independent artist when you go shop through our store link. And so you're going to find cool shirts like to switch it over from werewolves to vampires. So there are werewolves in that universe. There's Jackie Daytona, Human Bartender, which is just always a delight and a charm from what we do in the shadows. Jackie Daytona, Human Bartender makes me smile every single time.
There's no time that a smile is not caused by Jack. And this is a great design. Like,
really
it's in like a
design.
beer logo style, like a Sam Adams kind of style, and it's so fun. It is like my favorite shirt. I own that shirt.
Love it.
My shirt this week is in honor of demons, not werewolves, but it just says demon, and it's an Etrigan shirt, and it's a close-up of his face. I love Etrigan. He's my favorite demon. I love when he rhymes. I'm sad when he doesn't rhyme. I think he's so great. I think he's so interesting. Can't find an Etrigan shirt for the life of me anywhere but tpublic.com. So that's the heat they're bringing.
Yeah, absolutely. They're bringing that side heat, like that B, C, maybe even D grade character that you're like, no one's making merch for this, but the fans are.
The fans are. There are Swamp Thing shirts as well. I didn't find one right now because I love Etrigan too much. But yeah, there's like the minor.
There's a lot going on.
The minor funds are around.
You can have a lot of fun, and especially a lot of fun during October. If you like spooks and scares and Halloween stuff, there's so much deep cut horror on there that it's an absolute delight. And as well, when you shop through our store link at tpublic.fromsuperheroes.com for the month of October, any purchase that you make, they are going to be matching that purchase and donating it to our charity event that we're running next month, November 5th. We're doing Extra Life Game Day. All the proceeds go to the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. We've chosen Sick Kids Hospital as our hospital that's going to be getting all the proceeds. So any purchase that you make the month of October through our link, tpublic.fromsuperheroes.com, however much you spend, they're matching that, and they are going to be donating it to our cause, to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital Sick Kids. So if you're thinking about getting something at TeePublic, get on it now, because you're going to get a great product from them, and then they're going to be donating to our charity as well, which is fantastic. Everybody wins. So head over there right now, month of October, tpublic.fromsuperheroes.com. And thank you, TeePublic, for your support, both with us and for your charitable support as well. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, TeePublic.
And now let's get into the spoiler-filled section of the episode. Let's talk more about Werewolf by Night. All right. Well, we both had a terrific time watching Werewolf by Night. What a delight. What a different thing. God, I hope Marvel does more of this.
What a lovely surprise. What a gem. Like, this is exactly the stuff that I thought, this is exactly the thing that I thought the Disney Plus stuff was supposed to be. Like, when WandaVision came out off the bat of like, we're very different. We're like sitcom montages. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's wildly different. And then I don't think really much since then has been wildly different, and this is absolutely wildly different than Marvel's usual style. Like, and I am so thrilled. It's so refreshing. It was such a good time and done so confidently and so well. Like, right off the top, having two really fun different credit styles, like the werewolf slashes through the Marvel logo. Right off the top is very good, but then having the actual logo be like 1930s horror stylings.
And even I think they recomposed the Marvel theme as well, because it sounded like it was a different live orchestra that was in the style of an older creature feature composition. I wish I knew enough about music to say why that is, but it didn't sound like modern. It was the same piece, but it didn't sound modern. And I like that as well, that immediately they're like, we're, keeping the branding consistency, adding a little fun with the slash, but also redoing the composition a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely redid it a little bit. And I don't know anything about music to say how. I assume they lit all the instruments on fire.
Of course, naturally.
As you do.
You have to light the instruments on fire.
The tuba was on fire, and it makes a cool sound that way. And then I assume every other instrument was also lit on fire, and that's how you make horror music.
We all know that's how it's done.
That's how it's done. So I guess I do know a lot of music.
Absolutely.
Because I know you light the instruments on fire.
So this and WandaVision being like an homage pastiche, this or a series of those, this kind of being the same but in a different tone. But I agree with you; those are the only two that have like really done something different, and I think that is what Marvel has an opportunity to do. And I've seen this criticism online in the past of like how sometimes people have compared like superhero movies to like the Western as a genre, or like call superhero movies a genre. And I've seen like video essays and kind of like articles and editorials and think pieces about this where it's like superhero movies are not a genre. Superhero movies are like a type of movie that there are genres within, in the same way that like when people say animated movies are a genre, it's like, no, it's not. You can have subgenres. But for the most part, a lot of the Marvel formula has turned what isn't a genre into a genre, where it's like, no, there actually is now a formula for superhero movies. It is a little samey, and there's not a lot of variation or subgenre or exploration within. And WandaVision and now Werewolf by Night are two where it's like, no, you can do a genre piece. You can do something that isn't homogeny. You can do something that's a little bit different and a little bit fun, and it's brilliant for it.
Yeah, like there is definitely an absolute Marvel style. You're right. I would have agreed with years ago that like superhero movies aren't a genre. Marvel kind of has made them a genre, or at least Marvel movies are a genre, even when they do like different things. Like Doctor Strange is supposed to be a horror within the multiverse, and I'm like, despite those two things, still a Marvel movie. Like
not a horror movie.
Not too different enough to not be a Marvel movie. Like there's just no one's ever really done it differently. Like there has not been a full-blown Western. Like you could have a Jonah Hex like real Western, kind of thing. And yeah, this is an actual like really different. I wouldn't actually even peg it as a Marvel movie if I didn't know this was Marvel characters. Yeah. And I love that. That's a pro. Not that I don't love Marvel movies, because I do for the most part, but having something not completely the same, I'm like, oh, okay, so you are willing to maybe shift for a 1-hour special presentation, and hopefully people respond to this well, and you're like, oh, people like that. Because we do. We like that. That's why we like WandaVision. That's why we like this. Take a little chance.
Yeah, take a little chance, and it gives me hope to be like, if the chances succeed, if enough people watch it and love it and things like that, then they can take chances with bigger things, with the film stuff. I know that Blade. I can't remember if they recently changed director or if they changed writers, but they changed something.
Director, and Blade is also supposed to be set in the past, from what I understand.
And it's like, okay, well, if Werewolf by Night goes well, maybe we can take more chances. Maybe we can go a little bit more horror, or even a little bit more camp, or a little bit more something with Blade that makes it stand out, that makes it a little bit different, that makes it not just the not just the formula of what a Marvel movie is, you know?
Now, do you think part of it might be because this movie, I assume, had quite a small budget and almost nothing is done with CG? So I wonder if that kind of removes Marvel's oversight a little, like the CGI guys don't get to like decide how a lot of it looked, because even like the coffin puppet I think was real. I don't think they CG'd the dead guy in the coffin. The werewolf seemed to be real. It seemed to just be Guile in a costume for most of it, or a stuntman when there was like doing fight scenes.
Sure.
So I'm not sure there was Swamp Thing was definitely not real.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? We're in the spoiler section.
yeah.
Swamp Thing's in this, and I don't think he was on set.
Yeah.
But for the most part, this was just like two studios at two stages, and they're just filming it live. And I wonder if that's a big part of why they got to do something a little different.
I think that definitely plays a factor into it, where there's been so much talk around like the visual effects departments that work with Marvel and things like that, and it's not necessarily on the visual effects teams as it is Marvel's oversight and nitpicking and going too far into it.
Not
and
mad at the VFX people.
I think maybe by having black and white, it means that they're not rethinking and recontextualizing Swamp Things a million times. That helps. Doing it more practical, which works for the style and genre, and I agree probably can keep Marvel's hands out of it a little bit. That I think helps. And I think just being lower budget in general allows them to have fun and kind of go off the rails a little bit more.
Yeah, there was kind of nothing on the line since this was from day one supposed to be released on Disney Plus. Like it was never going to be theatrical. So I think they got to play with it more, and I'm so happy. Like I agree with you. I want to watch this again like in a few days. I feel like, you know what we should do? It's only an hour. Let's pop it back on.
And I even really like the contextualization as well of, and I realize that this is probably like bigger picture, something Marvel did want in there, or maybe not, depending on how much distance they wanted from this. It opens with this kind of narration of like, there's this dark side, there's this underworld, and it's done in this paintoral styling of like mythological books of creatures, and I think it's on the wall of the building that they're going into. But it starts with like a black and white drawing like of the Avengers above ground, and it's like, and then below there's a darker side to what's going on in the world, and then it's the drawings of like hunting vampires and bats and monsters throughout history and things like that. And I enjoy that style of like, here's the underside of what's been going on, but still kind of drawing it into the general Marvel world. I think that that's a really good introduction within this. And the narration has that like spooky, scary, like Vincent Price, old-timey kind of energy to it. And I really like it. Not that it's in Price's very particular voice, but in that style that I really like.
No, I agree. The narrator set such a good tone. I actually just double checked. I'm like, who was narrating it? Because it wasn't any of the characters. It was just Rick D. Wasserman. They just hired a narrator.
Yeah, just a standalone narrator who
in the movie.
And a proper voice actor who does good voice work and knows how to hit that tone properly, and something that is very much in the style of a creature feature, where it's like, that was not something that was the narrator is a character. It was someone was presenting you a story. And we have an outside narrator who's like, let me tell you a story of spooks and scares. And that is such a thing that is lost of a omniscient narrator that is not involved in the story in any way, and I think it really works here.
Yeah, this isn't Uatu, the Watcher, who's going to get involved later. This isn't anybody. This is just the dude. This is just the narrator.
It's
this is
just
the narrator of the
narrator.
story.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. And also, what a great economy of storytelling. Like, the backstory was not too long. It was like, there are monster hunters, there's a bloodstone, it's up for grabs. I'm like, thank you. So many movies would do like a Lord of the Rings like prequel-esque, like, we only have an hour. I gotta get it all in though.
Right. You need to understand who Bloodstone was as a character before he died, or how he died, or what creature fell him. And it's like,
where the Bloodstone came from.
And it's just like, it's his funeral/tournament. Get on board. If you're not on board, get the fuck out. Like, that is just a breezy way to get into this story.
Really quick, just because I think I imagine some listeners are like, no, it's Man-Thing, not Swamp Thing. Sorry, I've been saying Swamp Thing automatically.
Yes.
Swamp Thing is DC, Man-Thing is Marvel.
That's
very,
right.
very similar.
Gotcha.
I will try not to say Swamp Thing again. Swamp Thing, obviously, the more famous of the two. Sorry, Man-Thing.
Sorry, Man-Thing. Man-Thing, you're charming as hell, but sorry about the mix-up there on that one.
Sorry. I know some listeners are probably like, laugh a few times.
And I love the ensemble of characters here. This introduction of like, we're at the funeral. Here are different monster hunters from around the world. And like, we've got archetypes. We've got like a few different things going on. I'm like, all of these work. They all pop. They're all cool and fun in their own different way. I really love all the cast of characters.
I love all the cast of characters, but again, I'm just going to say, like, I love how confident this movie is to not over-explain anything, but still have, I'm going to say, like, implied backstories on everyone. Like, it is so great to just be like, we're not going to give everyone a name. Like, they have names, but, like, it doesn't matter. We're going to, like, learn them as we go and figure out who these people are as we go, figure out who the lead characters are as we go. We're not backloading exposition. It really is, like, you're on a fun journey. Like, we're going to this, like, trial to kill a monster. And I love that everyone's on board. I love that none of the characters are like, no, I should get the bloodstone, and they argue or anything. They're all like, no, we're all in.
We're on board.
We know the rules.
We're on board for the premise of this movie, and we are here.
Yeah, I like that we just get into it and no one argues, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you're all set. You're all like, let's go. It just cues it up so well to be like, okay, something's going on, but like we're all committed to this storyline.
Yeah, we're all committed to it, and it's just an efficiency of storytelling. And like, I know it's a short film, but at no point am I like, oh, there's so much left on the table. It's just like, this is to the minute the exact amount of time that everything needs. A lot of the times on our episodes, the what would you change, it'll be, make it shorter. Definitely not the case for this. And I'm not even going to say make it longer. This is to the second the exact and most efficient storytelling imaginable. And I adore that.
Yeah, so efficient. Like, I love lines like, I like implying backstory when you have a short thing, when you're like, we don't need to get into it. Like, I always save you when Man-Thing and Jack are like talking, when he's trying to not kill Elsa and he's like, this worked once. But we don't get a flashback. We don't learn about the time that it worked and he didn't save someone that he cared about. Like, I love the implications of stories when you're just like, it's short, but we want to humanize these people. We want to make them feel lived in. They're not just existing in this moment. Yeah. And this movie does a really good job of being like, these aren't just characters who exist in this moment.
Yeah, that is, they exist so many times before, so many times after. A brilliant analysis. I'm with you on that one. And yeah, some of it is implied story, and some of it is the seeds of story. To that, like, the implied story is, oh, I'm here with Man-Thing, and we are friends, and I've saved him before. That's the implied story. But stuff of like, this worked once before is such a seed of an adventure that we don't even know. And I think that that's something that in a lot of properties and a lot of different stories, fans latch onto and are like, oh my God, I want to know that. And we can get wrapped up in this idea of like, well, if fans want to know it, we have to do it. No, you don't. You don't have, and maybe there's a comic story about that. Maybe that's a reference to something.
I assume it's a reference to something.
Or maybe that's just an invitation for fans to write fanfic. And I think that that's great too. That's something that we're really losing the magic of the more we explore these magical universes. That idea of like, well, we've got to do what's the backstory of that one thing they said one time, and we've got to show that. Be like, no, let it sit in our imaginations so that we can think about it and feel how we want to feel about it, or write the fanfics that we want to write about it. That's the joy of being a fan of things. And I like that.
I love Andrew lobbying for more fanfic opportunities. This is a Diana dream come true. Not that you're ever anti-fanfic, but it's usually Diana's domain. And I totally agree. Love having the open door to be like, we fill in the blanks. We get to have fun with it in our own minds, and no one can tell us we're wrong if you don't fill in the blanks. And that's fun on its own. That can be a really fun thing to explore. So I 100% agree. Like, yeah, but I also disagree, because I'm like, I would love to see these guys back again, but also this feels so special on its own that I almost don't want to touch it again.
I mean, I would be okay with seeing more Jack and Man-Thing for sure, but I'm like, I don't need every detail mind.
No, I don't need it all filled out. Yeah. But like, they were just so incredible together, despite having like maybe 3 minutes of on-screen time together. Like, God, the economy of storytelling here, the instant friendship, just the small details in the campsite at the end of like, oh, this is a true friendship. You grabbed a cloak for him because he'd be naked when he changed back. Like,
you made a French press coffee waiting for him for when he wakes up hungover.
I don't even do that for you.
That's incredible. That's incredible, man thing. And yeah, and even just like the little moment of talking to him about the bloodstone and be like, does it hurt, buddy? Like him being not just like mission focused, not just like we're friends and I need to get you out of here and I saved you that time, but to be like, I'm working on it. How do you feel? Are you okay? And to slow down a tense moment to be like, how do you feel is such a sweet friendship thing. And like I love that stayed in there. It says so much about what the relationship is, and it breaks the tone and speed of that moment in such a brilliant way.
Oh, that's a great point. Asking someone if they're okay is such an instant like, yeah, this isn't just a mission. I'm not just a guy who saves people who are in trouble. Like, this is my friend. I care.
Yeah,
he's my man thing.
I love it, and Gail Bernal does a phenomenal job with the character of Jack as well. Just wow, so much kind of impacted in, and even in these little introductions of like, you killed 100, and he's like, I killed 100. Like he's not happy about it, and just like the way he lays out, the markings are to remember where he's from and to honor his legacy, and just the pain that he does everything with, but still with like a charm and humility. There's a lot that he layers in here.
Yeah, he's incredibly charming and incredibly interesting. Yeah, like I really liked the kind of journey he went on when he wakes up in the cage of being like, oh no, we're absolutely fine. We got like 5 days. Don't you even worry about it. And then like the horror when he finds out he can be transformed against his will. There is like a really great arc for him in that one short scene. He's incredibly dynamic on set. For people who don't know, his character's full name is Jack Russell. Which is original creator of Werewolf by Night. Amazing.
Love that Jack Russell is the name. Adorable.
Absolutely great. I get why you didn't bring the full name into the movie as far as I could hear. But I love that. Yeah, there's like, it's all hits though, acting wise.
Oh yeah, everyone does a phenomenal performance of owning their character in these little moments. Like it is pretty much just Jack and Elsa who really get like emotions to mine. Laura Donnelly, who plays Elsa, also does a fantastic job. But those are the only two that really have like an arc in this. Everyone else is doing a character piece, and they're doing a great job of it. But they don't. No one else really has to carry any kind of emotional weight or tone other than Jack and Elsa.
I really like the widow, the mom.
Really?
I thought she was really good. I think she really like brought some great energy, some great like burns, like you got why like Elsa has pushed back against this woman growing up. A good villain piece of like, I believed her that she thought this was the right thing. I think she had enough screen time and did like enough with it that I was like, I actually really like this performance.
I do agree that it was a phenomenal performance. I don't think it had like the weight that the two mains had.
No, it didn't have the weight.
But it
I
was
would say,
a great performance of like, I'm the widow, I dislike you, and also just like having so much fun doing it as well.
Yeah, I would just argue I think there's 3 leads. I would say she's the 3rd lead.
Interesting. Okay.
To me.
Well, let's take a quick break in the episode. We want to thank our other sponsor of today's episode. We want to thank our friends over at Quip.
Over at Quip, who has made my oral care routine so much better. My teeth are like, thank you, Diane.
Thank you for the gentle sonic vibrations. Quip, they have an electric toothbrush that is loved by over 7 million mouths. And their toothbrush, what it has is timed sonic vibrations with 30-second pulses to guide a dentist-recommended 2-minute clean. So you pick a quadrant, you toss it in, you're going to get 30 seconds. Then it's going to pulse, let you know, switch up what quadrant you're hitting. You're going to get a nice even clean, and it's this lightweight, sleek design with no wires or bulky charger, and it has this little travel cover / mirror mount, which I love because it's mounted on the mirror. It removes the clutter from the counter, and it just slides in. It keeps it slim and sleek, and I can just throw it into a travel bag when I'm traveling, and it's just very minimal and clean, which I like.
It's very minimal. It's very clean. You're going to get a great brush, and it's going to really help you not have to remember to replace your toothbrush all the time because they're going to send you everything you need every month. In addition to brush heads, Quip delivers fresh floss, toothpaste, mouthwash, gum refills every 3 months from $5, and shipping is free. So you never have to remember to buy any oral care essentials, and it's Shipping is free.
Because they got all of it. They got gum, they got floss, 2 different ways to floss, anti-cavity toothpaste. So yeah, you're really just going to be set in every form of your oral care. Your dental hygienist would be like, "Ooh, what you got going on in there?
Have you been brushing for 2 minutes?" They'll say.
Have you
They'll
been
be
doing
like,
the full thing with the floss and all the things?" And you're like, "Yes, I am."
And it's always nice when your dental hygienist is like compliment.
Oh, you want to get the dentist compliment. You don't want to get the dentist scorn. That's part of the reason why some of us fear the dentist. So avoid the scorn, get the compliments. And if you go to getquip.com/super, right now you'll get your first refill free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/super. That's spelled GETQUIP.com/super. Quip, the good habits company, and thank you, Quip, for your support.
Thank you, Quip.
And now back to Werewolf by Night, which we're enjoying, we adore. It's great performances, it's fun, it's different for the Marvel world. The look of this I want to talk about for a minute because it is truly gorgeous. I love what they have done here because not only is it sometimes a goofy homage to a creature feature, like moments where the camera goes behind the coffin and it has this side up.
I think coffins actually maybe say that, but it's still very funny to see it.
I'm not sure if the joke is that it's a prop coffin or that coffins have that, or they needed that because the guy in the coffin is a crypt keeper type Zoltaire animatronic thing. But either way, very goofy, very funny. And then there's moments of just like sincere, wonderful execution, like the transformation into a werewolf from the shadows projecting on the wall. And I'm like, this is very, very carefully and artistically done for what you're trying to do here. And it's gorgeous and it accomplishes a lot. And yeah, the color pop of having the bloodstone be the single ruby red color popping out in the movie, that all works too.
I think that is a great choice. I also agree this movie looks great. I love that it really only has 3 sets, so they made all of them like gorgeous. It's like the first room you walk into, the giant like meeting room with stuffed monsters on the walls, and it goes up really high. It's like this room was thoughtfully crafted. There's stuff everywhere, but it's not too full. The maze, I love when they like open the door and it keeps panning up to show that it is a maze. There is just so much that you're going to have to explore to find the monster. I'm like, oh, it's much bigger than I was imagining. I understand how this hunt's going to work now. It built the idea so quickly. And yeah, just like it all laid out nice geography wise. It all made sense. Then we get to the final like just capture scene in the cage, which is another just like really well built set. You're just like, okay, yeah, it's all gorgeously shot. You made some just really nice sets because you only had 3 to use. And I just think that's like, I love that. I love how everything was just short and sweet in this whole thing.
Short and sweet, well-built, practical sets as well, and the fact that it is presented in black and white, I think, is a very smart choice as well. Because not only does it, tonally match the type of movie that they're going for, but for big practical sets like that, it hides cheaper textures or foam or anything that seems like it is a cutout, and it does make it feel more granular and gritty, and it makes it feel like stone walls and faces as opposed to just like PVC and cardboard and styrofoam.
Is it weird for me to say I think this black and white movie is like the best lit Marvel movie I've seen in a while?
I see what you're saying. I mean, black and white does just create easier compositions. It's easier to do than color.
There was no scene where I was like, what's happening? Why isn't it popping?
Yeah, every scene does look gorgeous.
Every scene was really easy to follow and see what was going on. Yeah, so like even though it's black and white, I'm like, oh, it's so easy to watch.
Yeah.
Love that.
Smooth, easy to watch, great lighting, and yeah, the shadow work was really brilliant as well.
That shadow scene was really, really great. I'm actually going to throw my next compliment. Do I have any non-compliments? I don't. My next compliment is about the fight scenes.
Yeah.
Great fight scenes and shot in a way you could see them. Which is like just not happening anymore. Like this was so nice to see in 2022. I'm like, this was cool choreography. The camera hardly ever moved. We got to see like 4 to 5 moves in a row with no camera changes. Like when she cut that guy's arm off and then flipped him and the blood spatter came out of the cut arm, that was one of the coolest moves I've seen in a while. Like, this is really great choreography for such a short thing for like non-powered characters, just straight human choreography. And I'm like, this is so cool. The way she was just flipping around so quickly when she pulls the guy into the crevice and is like holding his mouth while he's dying, like just great, fun choreography happening here. And I loved being able to clearly see it.
Yeah, and simple complex choreography.
Yes.
Where like cutting the arm off and then having that kind of fight with or like crushing the arm in the door, fighting with the little crossbow that he has on the arm, cutting it off, doing a single armed fight. And it's a couple of these big broad moves that take up a lot of screen time, but it's clear, it's over the top, you know the movement that's happening. And when it's followed with a complex move, like whether it be like the Hurricane Rana, like I flip around your body or whatever it might be, the camera really like lets you know, like, look at this big complex move. And that will be followed by kind of a slow, clumsy struggle, which feels like these are all talented fighters, but in a real fight as well, where there's this combination of clumsy, hectic with beautiful art. And I think that is really great for wide shot, simple, powerful choreography. It works really well. And obviously things change up a little bit when we have the actual werewolf fight scene with like a little bit more sped up dance play type of a thing, which also really works. But yeah, just really, really clear, like each fight scene is like, we're going to do 4 moves. And we're going to nail the 4 moves that we're going to do and make a full, rich scene out of it.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I like what you said about how it's fancy and then it's a little bit messy, because I think that adds stakes to it, because as you said, it does feel real. You're like, oh no, she's fighting for her life. This isn't a fancy fight scene and then she's just going to kick the guy away. Like she is struggling to survive. Not so much Werewolf by Night, because he kind of just never fights until he's a werewolf. But she is like really surviving, and like there feels like there's stakes there, and that she might not make it because it's a horror movie. Anyone can die at any time. I also think the sword throat cut was incredible in a way I've never seen someone get their throat cut by a sword.
The one where she trips the guy down onto a sword and cuts
and
the
then
throat?
she kind of like just twists it a little bit. Yeah, it was like brutal without being gory. A really nice level of violence in this thing.
Yeah. There were moments where it felt almost reminiscent to like that level of poetic movement followed by gritty struggle of like a Daredevil hallway fight of the like, you're someone who's good but who's having a tough time. So that felt very. She's had a day. So it felt a little bit like that. And in some of her movements, it almost felt very like Tony Jaa Ong Bak, even though it wasn't necessarily that fighting style, but that quick to the kill, like that very juddered movement.
Moving.
Yeah. So there was a lot of stuff to love in the fight style, and I really liked the fight style that they gave to the werewolf, which was something that was a little bit different. Even though like every character member had their own little bit of a unique fight style, but give the werewolves kind of like frenetic movements and the jump arounds, the little bit of wire work, but not overly done. I think it was all just like the right tasteful choices.
Yeah, really, really fun. I don't know why. I feel like the werewolf knew martial arts, which I didn't know if I needed.
Okay.
Because he didn't seem very like Jack's memories are existing in me when I am the werewolf. Like he barely remembered Elsa's. So when he does like, he gets down and does like a leg sweep, I'm like, would a werewolf do a leg sweep?
Don't worry about it.
I'm just like, I think a werewolf would jump around and he'd be frenetic and he would do all these other things. But the leg sweep in particular, I was like, this seems to be a complex move for you,
Interesting.
sir. Unless you have Jack's muscle memory. But I also don't know if Jack had any fight training.
Okay.
He didn't seem particularly like, let's throw hands. He was very runaway.
He was very runaway. Yeah. So, all right, interesting.
But
that
just
didn't bother me.
a small little thing. I was like, a werewolf wouldn't do a leg sweep.
That is a small one. And I liked that there were a couple moments as well. I can't remember if it was the arm chop off flip where the blood and the particle effects or what was going on in the environment hit and affected the camera.
No, that was the long one shot where Werewolf by Night was killing all the guys in the hall while the door was going down.
Yes, which was another well-lit scene. But then when the thing was, when like the arm chop off as well earlier, and the way that it spun the blood in the air, and then the Werewolf by Night one and the way that the blood like affected the camera, it felt like more modern Grindhouse influence. But there were these like little touches and tastes of different styles of cinema that worked in the exact moment that they put it in and didn't necessarily take away from the style, and I really liked that.
I liked a lot of it.
Oh, God, I love this movie. I really do love it.
I really do love it because we've talked about the fights, we talked about the look, and then this damn little movie nails it with the comedy. That bomb scene was so funny, and it's really the only like hugely funny scene. But they're like, we have an hour, we need one like laugh.
Yeah.
And the just fucking up that bomb like 3 times.
Throwing it and bouncing was funny. It sticking a little was the funniest possible option there. To be like, how and why would it stick? There's no reason for it to. I like that it sticks a little bit.
I like the implication because, you see these kind of bombs, like James Bond's got them and stuff. Like a bomb you stick on the wall and it blows up. But like he's fucked it up so bad, like it landed in the grass. The sticky part got dirt on it. Like it's just not going to stick anymore. It's 1945 or something. Stick technology isn't where it would be today. So,
I actually don't know if this takes place in the past.
Ooh, no one had a cell phone.
No, I think it's an altered present.
Well, it felt old timey, maybe just because of the black and white.
And just because of like the style of who these people are.
An electronic bomb.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I still think the sticky can just get dirt on it when you fail to throw it the first time.
That is true.
And then just having to stick it in the crevice and barely making it.
So good.
Yeah. So that whole sequence, I was like, oh my God. And there's also one hilarious sequence. What is this?
I mean, I do also think that the animatronic corpse of the original Bloodstone is comedy as well.
That was very surprising. And we're only like 6 minutes in by then. So it's like, this is what this is going to be if you don't know what this film's going to be by now. And I'm like, okay, we're all set. Animatronic Crypt Keeper Dad, okay.
With a hand crank? With the hand crank doing it as a Jack-in-the-Box act is just so absurd. And his body being hacked up in order to create the animatronic version of him. His wife trying to hold his moving animatronic hand.
His lips not matching the words because probably a Victrola is just saying them somewhere else. So it's not matched up at all. Like we don't have that human body animatronic technology.
And even just like the hand crank messing up the speed of the playback a little bit as well.
Maybe the hand crank is also what made me think this was set in the past.
Yeah, maybe it is set in the past.
A hand crank is, but also that guy was very old. Maybe he's like, we've always done it this way.
And maybe it's just
hand
like,
crank technology
this is our fun
is at max.
This is what we do with every Bloodstone that dies or whatever. It might be a traditional thing. Yeah, it's really just that bomb that kind of throws off the vibe.
Yeah, of like, this could be set in the present or past.
Interesting. I hadn't really thought about that.
I mean, like
Curious.
the French press and the playing cards. Oh, we've had those for a while.
Yeah, that's been around for ages. Yeah. Because they were using a gramophone. Like even Man Thing is playing a record at the end.
I think he stole their Victrola. But
I think that is it. Yeah. Interesting.
Don't know.
I don't
Just
know.
don't know. I mean, I also don't know. Let me ask you this. What do you think it means that the color comes back at the end?
I think that that's just nothing more than like a Wizard of Oz ruby slipper type of thing of like we've made it out. I think that's just nothing more than like a cute Wizard of Oz play. I don't think too much about that.
I didn't think it was going to be anything deep, but I was just like, there's no like magic that's been released. These guys weren't super evil. It's not like the world was saved or anything, and now the world is different and light has returned anyway. I'm like, yeah, you killed your kind of shitty stepmom.
I think that the light has returned to the world where like you've killed the order of monster hunters who were the real monsters. These people were the monsters, I think was the general theme of it, which is just that
I understood that. The monsters were the good guys.
Yeah. So I think that like we've rid the world of the real monsters, I think was maybe the color coming back to the world. And now this order actually has someone who, will hunt probably people who have monstrous or demonic bodies, but won't kill all of them on sight. It's Elsa now who actually has a mind about her as to who might deserve that type of wrath.
She's a little like Geralt the Witcher, like,
Yeah.
I only kill the ones that are actually evil.
Yeah. Sometimes I go into the woods and a tree creature's just like, sorry. And then you're like, oh, okay, let's talk it out.
Don't do it again.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It happens. Monsters are people too.
It does happen. Yeah. And I like that as the theme, that the hunters and also just anyone who, stuffs a body and puts it on their wall is not a good person. That's not something good people do. That's never a heroic move.
Yeah, even if you kill something evil, it's like, burn that?
Yeah.
You probably want to burn that.
Or bury it, have a normal funeral, you know what I mean?
for a demon?
Even then, yeah. Sure. If Superman kills Doomsday, Superman isn't going to have Doomsday taxidermied because that's not a normal, healthy human hero behavior. That is something that a bad person would do, to be like, oh, hey, look, I killed this big thing. Like, that's not cool.
That is a good point. Superman buries his, and he only kills accidentally.
But accidentally Superman kills Doomsday.
He does not.
You don't chop the top half of Doomsday's body off, stuff it, and then put it on the wall of the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah. We're not walking into the Fortress of Solitude and be like, oh shit, Superman's a murderer.
Yeah.
If you're proud of your murders, that's red flag.
Red flag. Red flag. You are the villains. Well, I'm feeling pretty good on Werewolf by Night. Did you have anything else you wanted to get out there?
Not really. I loved it. I'm so glad that we watched it. I can't wait to watch it again. Shout out to old dude with the crank because he lived.
Old dude with the crank. You're doing good work, my dog.
Hey, who else can make an animatronic dead man? It's just him. His skills are vital. I think Werewolf by Night even knew it. He's like, I can't kill dude with the crank. We need dude with the crank.
We need dude with the crank. So that shout out to dude with the crank. Well, let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change. So now that we've discussed everything we've discussed, what would we change about this if we could change anything? Before we do ask that final question, we will remind you, as we do every week, to please take a moment to like, subscribe, and rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us move up the charts. It helps us find new listeners. It means a lot to the show.
Guys, we want listeners. We want to know what you think about us.
Sure.
And we want, please, that to be a 5-star review.
Love it.
Those are our requests. They're not unreasonable. And we appreciate all the people who have reviewed. Thank you so much. It always warms our hearts whenever we get one. So if you'd like to warm our hearts, please leave us a 5-star review.
Please do that, and it helps support the podcast you love. It's a free thing to do while you're there. Rate and review a couple of your favorite podcasts. It makes a difference to every podcast out there. And if you do want to support the show monetarily, that's where you can hit us up over on Patreon, which is a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe at whatever level you can afford. You can do $1 a month, $5, $10, $20, whatever it is you've got in your budget. It goes right to us at the network. It helps support this and the other podcasts and the other entertainment and everything that we do. You'll always get some kind of a bonus for your subscription level. So even at the $1 level, which those stack up and make a huge difference to us, and you get texts from the future. You get our webcomic a day early.
Sometimes 2 days. Depends on when I Photoshop them.
Sometimes you'll get some other bonus stuff. There's lots of fun stuff in there. And at the $10 hero level, you get a bonus episode of this podcast every single month. And as well, you can cancel, change your level at any given month. You can subscribe for a full year to get a bonus month free. There's lots of fun different options. Head on over and check it out if it's in your budget. You can check it out over at patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That's patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And have a look if it's in the budget.
If it's in the budget. And we appreciate all of the patrons who have found it in the budget. It is so generous of you. Really helps us out over here on the network.
Love ya.
Love ya.
And let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? Diana, what would you change?
Oh, not very much. It's pretty good. I think my only change would be I thought the reveal that Jack and Man-Thing were friends was a little bit early. I know we only have an hour. I would maybe add 5-10 more minutes. I really like the tension of waiting for the monster to attack. Are we going to attack each other first? Are we going to fight the monster? What's going to happen? So I would like just a little bit longer before, it felt like we revealed very early that the monster was not mean and that Jack was working with him. And I would have liked maybe like 5 or 10 more minutes of just like tension building. Who's going to betray who's going to fight who, someone actually fighting Man-Thing maybe without Jack there, and we can see the distress he's in or not in because he killed people. Wow, he didn't need any help. What was he even worried about? His touch is death. So yeah, honestly, just like 5 to 10 minutes longer. Hold off on the reveal and the twist a little bit longer because that's kind of like where everything changes. So like leave the tone a little longer to be like, oh, it's a different thing than I thought it was. And that's about it. It's really good. It so knows what it is and it's so confident in it that I have so little that I would change about this. Andrew, what would you change?
Very little. I love it. I'm struggling to find a change, and frankly, this is one of the few times where I'm like, I'm just saying it for the sake of saying something. We could throw it right in the trash. I don't really need to change a goddamn thing. This is perfect. But maybe we could have a couple moments of sincere tension because I'm with you. It never feels sincere, tense, or horror. And I don't think they're going for that. But I could maybe go for a moment or two. Like even the moment when Elsa is like covering the mouth of the guy who's finally dying and being like, if the other guy hears me here, I'm kind of trapped and screwed and I'm going to die. It never felt tense. It did feel kind of like, ooh, oopsie doodle, look at this. And that it was fun, but I'm like, that was actually a moment to have like sincere tension of like, oh no, I might die, there's stakes. And I feel like we could have added a couple of cannon fodder hunters into the group where like, I realize that we want Man-Thing to be likable and kind of a buddy, but we could have maybe 1 or 2 people go down in insincere horror, which would add a little bit more charm as well to when Jack gets grabbed and is like, oh, hey, buddy. So if we had 1 or 2 actually go down, it would add a little bit of tension to when Jack gets grabbed. So all in all, like what I'm describing might add 5 minutes of screen time, and we don't need that because this is tight perfection as it is. But if I'm going to do something, if I'm changing for the sake of changing, that's what I'm changing.
No, I love that. I think that goes with what I wanted, which is just like Man-Thing to be scary because we don't even really see him until he talks to Jack.
Yes.
So I would love like, maybe like Elsa like thinks she can fight him, sees what he is, hides behind a corner, he walks by, and you're like, oh shit, that is way too big. She sees him like kill 2 guys or something.
Right. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Because we've also revealed that the Moonstone, the Bloodstone, makes him meaner. So it's not really his fault. So we can still have sympathy for Man-Thing when it's removed, that he goes back to normal.
Yeah.
So I agree. Yeah, kill two cannon fodders, make it a little bit scarier, and then a nice reveal that Man-Thing and Jack are friends.
Love it.
Excellent. We've made a tiny change. We love it so much.
Love it so much. Gonna watch it again. That is Werewolf by Night. We had a great time. We will be back next week. Next week we're going to be talking about She-Hulk on the podcast. So we'll be back next week talking about She-Hulk. In the meantime, don't forget if you haven't already checked it out or don't already know, on November 5th, us at the network, we're going to be doing Extra Life Game Day, which is a 24-hour live streaming marathon event. We're doing it November 5th, starting at noon Eastern time. We are going to have live podcast tapings of this and the other podcasts on the network. I Hate It, But I Love It, The Villain Was Right, The Fandom Show. We're also going to have watch-along parties. We're going to be watching Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
Number 3, baby!
You can hang out with us and watch that. We're going to do a Jackbox game night. And then I'm going to do 12 hours of video game streaming as well, so quite a marathon there. And it's all going to charity, where it's all supporting the Children's Miracle Network, specifically Sick Kids Hospital. And there's lots of cool stuff. You're going to want to go donate because every $20 gets you entered in a chance to win different prizes that we're going to be drawing for on the stream. If you donate $50, you are going to get access to all of the past Patreon episodes for every podcast on the network. So, huge. That's us. That's I Hate It, But I Love It. That's The Villain Was Right. It's 227, if I remember correctly, previously exclusive episodes that you will get access to at a $50 donation level. We also have an exclusive webcomic, an exclusive text from superheroes that only people who have donated will get. All donation levels will get access to that. So check it out. Check out extralife.fromsuperheroes.com. That's EXTRA life.fromsuperheroes.com. It has all the event info there, how to donate. and come hang out with us on November 5th as we're doing it all live.
We hope to see you there. And if you can't watch live, if you donate, you still get all the cool stuff.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
get the bonus episodes and the text and everything.
Yeah.
So we hope to see you on the day. But if you can donate and help out the sick kids, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, extralife.fromsuperheroes.com. Check it out. We'll be back next week to talk about She-Hulk. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can find me online at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can find me at Words of Diana.
And you can reach both of us at From Superheroes, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.